Hi, this is Joe Jasper, and today we're going to take this image and put it on a drop shadow mask that we make from scratch. So let's move on with that. Step one is to import an image. Check that the image size is what you're expecting for your final intent, whether for the image itself in terms of the quality that that's going to have, or whether you're going to need to enlarge the image so that your image plus the matte will meet your expectation. But don't change it quite yet. Just go ahead and duplicate your image unless you need to enlarge the image itself. Okay, so here we are back in Topaz Studio, and in order to check, we go up to Image, Image Size, and see if it meets our expectations. And I'm just going to say OK for the sake of this presentation. Usually I'm working with images that are like 2000 by 3000 or something like that. And then, as I said, we're going to duplicate that image. And we see the image is still there. That's good. Step two is we're going to add an adjustment color overlay at 100% opacity in black, and then click Apply. So we come up to the adjustment panel, and right next to it there's a shortcut to color overlay, and we're going to just choose black and change the opacity to 100%. And you can see now that we have the same image size but 100% black. Click OK over here and then click Apply. For step three, we're going to increase the image size, let's say 130%, so that we don't have to shrink our print, the picture, and compromise its image size just because we want to apply the mask. Then we're going to apply another color overlay at 100% opacity in whatever color you desire, but I'm going to use gray, kind of standard, and then apply. Okay, so here we go. We're applying another adjustment, but it's not at 100%. Let's put it up to 100%. And we'll choose a gray, say right around here. And then what I want to do is come up to Image, Image Size. Image size, let's see, we're going to go to percent and 130. Click OK. Click Apply just so we have it saved. And next we're going to add an adjustment as an image layer, which also has a little shortcut. Drag over the rightmost black layer to the right panel and size it appropriately, approximately to the original image size, so about a third less, and drag the frame of the to offset it a few millimeters right, and that plus maybe another millimeter or two down, and then click Apply. So here's our rightmost black frame. We're going to do Image. So that adds an image layer that's going to go on top of the gray layer. Just drag that onto there, and when the little blue outline comes, then you know you're ready to release. Shrink this down to an appropriate size, and that looks about the size I want my original image to be on the mat, maybe even a little smaller. And then what I want to do is I don't want to put that exactly where my mat is unless I want the drop shadow to be completely 100% around the image. It would be natural if light was coming from the upper right for that to be down and to the right a little bit. And then I'm going to apply that. So in our next step, we're going to blur what we have with the gray and the black to soften the shadow that's going to be behind our picture. And then we'll add a texture to that to create our matte that includes the shadow being textured as if that shadow's falling on a textured matte. And we'll change the blend mode to one of the choices like multiply, soft light, linear light, or luminosity. We can adjust the brightness and contrast if desired, and then click Apply. So to get the blur, we come up to Adjustment, and it's one of the free ones, Blur, and we'll come to anywhere from 40 to 50 or so, and there's 50, and I'm going to then apply my texture, and that's down below. I'm going to use a paper texture, and you can see it's got this nice bumpy surface, which is pretty natural to some mattes. There are other choices, of course. I'm going to change the blend mode of this texture maybe to luminosity, and then I can change the opacity of that if it's too much height, or I can go down into the texture detail, and I can also change the brightness or contrast of what I have here. And then we're going to click Apply. For what could be our final step, we apply another image layer and drag our original picture image, that's probably your leftmost image, onto the right panel, size it and center it such that it appears pretty much centered in your matte, but definitely so that the drop shadow appears below and to the right, as if the light is hitting from the upper left and that the photograph is somehow suspended above the matte. So here's our original picture, and I like to open it in an image layer. You can just really drag and drop it on if you want, but this is my workflow, and I'm going to size it and get it where I want it anchored here, and just kind of cover that drop shadow except for the right and bottom, and then click Apply. If you need to, you can tidy up a crop to get it where you want. So now you have some options. You can add additional matte layers, perhaps of contrasting tones. Just follow kind of the same steps as you did to get to this point. You can also add an embossed title or signature to the matte rather than to the photo. So we can come up to Adjustment and Text, which is another freebie. Whatever color you want, like here we're going to use white, and find the font that you want, and type in the text, and adjust the size of your text, drag it into place, and choose whatever blend mode or opacity of that you want. Maybe overlay so that the texture can also show through. And you can lower the opacity to make it less distracting, and click Apply. And there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, I guess.